kind of give a recap of what happened to me yesterday. It's pretty exciting. So, I'm out running some errands after work, and I'm kind of around Michigan Avenue. And, I know the educational Apple show went on yesterday morning over at Lane Tech. So I know like Apple execs and probably Tim Cook were in town. But, and I saw some feeds early in the morning from pictures from that event. And so I know they were around. I didn't expect them to, see them at all. So I'm over at the Apple store on Michigan Avenue. And I kind of walk up there, and it's, just to set the tone, it's spring break. So there's always tons of people around, and especially at the Apple store during spring break. It's like a, you know, collection of everyone that wants to see everything Apple. They're always hanging out there. And I'm coming up in the store, and yeah, it does seem a little crazy. Outside, there's a rope out there and some security, and there's a sign on the window saying they're filming for PR events, blah, blah, blah. The standard stuff you see when they're filming. And so I kind of go in the store, and yeah, as I alluded, it's like insane in there. Tons of people. They're, the staff is handing out free water and free food, so they're clearly a party event. And I'm kind of just checking out the scene, walking around. Of course, I always want to look at the DJI drones, the Spark and the Mavic Air. Always kind of looking at that. And I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I gotta run. And as I go across the store, there's two sets of stairs. As I go across the store to the other set of stairs, there's a bunch of people like just hanging out the bottom of the stairs, like with their phones out, taking photos. And I'm like looking up the stairs. There's nothing up there. There's a group of people near the elevator up there, but I'm like, there's nothing special happening. So I don't know what these kids are taking photos of. And I'm like, screw this. I'm just gonna go upstairs and check it out. I go up there and I kind of bump into some security guy. He was cool. He's like, hey, how you doing? And I turn around from the security guy, and there's Tim Cook right there. He's talking to someone. It sounds like maybe a teacher from the morning event at Lane Tech, and she's talking to him about education and how the new iPads can help. And I'm like, I'm shaking. I'm like, I want to meet Tim Cook. I've my whole like life, ever since I've known Apple, I've always wanted to meet Tim Cook. I always wanted to meet Steve too, and I never had that opportunity. So I'm like, I gotta talk to him. So I turn around and I wait for an opening, and I said, hey, Mr. Cook, can I talk to you for a second? Can I get a picture? And he's like, of course. I mean, he was like, no problem. And it's the weirdest vibe because you would think Tim would, be surrounded by heavy security and not really approachable. But it was like, I mean, there was security there, clearly, probably undercover security ready to take charge. But their direction around him is very kind of open. He's very laxed about the whole thing. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, Tim and I grabbed a photo together, and I talked to him for a couple of minutes. I used to actually work across the street from the Cupertino office doing email migrations for another company, and I'm sure Apple eventually bought that building because they pretty much own every other building around that office park. This is years ago. Um, and I always used to go to the Starbucks down the street, and I know like other Apple employees used to go to that Starbucks. I've met other Apple employees over the years. When I was out there too, I always bumped into people that I met or that I just got introduced to, and there's always a hope that maybe Steve or Tim would show up there, and I would bump into him. At least bump into Steve and be like, "Hey, nice to meet you, Mr. Jobs." That would also have been a highlight right there. But Tim Cook shook my hand. We talked for a couple minutes about where I worked, and told him how how great a job he's doing. I really appreciate Apple, and that was it. So I'll put the picture up too. But yeah, thanks, Mr. Cook, for shaking my hand and taking a picture with me. I really appreciate it. You definitely made my day, and a great story and a great picture. Thanks. All right.